What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Open Heart Podcast. I'm your boy Rastus, and this is Open Heart, where heartfelt conversations unfold on the cozy couch. Today, I'm here alone. I don't have my host. I'm here as the co-host doing a solo episode, but I have a special guest with me today. Share this video. Share it everywhere. This is going to be a very interesting conversation, very special conversation. We get to speak with my brother, and you don't want to miss this conversation here. So if you've been wondering, who is this guy that's popping up on the internet, this is the story that's going to unfold right here for you on the Open Heart Podcast. So make sure you share this. Make sure you share it. Tag a friend, call a friend, tell them, yo, it's another episode of the Open Heart Podcast. What's going on, Av? What's up? Welcome to the show, Derek Johns. What's happening, man? Welcome. How are you?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm honored to be here. I've been watching your movement. I'm very proud of you, man. And thank you for inviting me to your show.
Man, it's an honor to even have the opportunity to do this live, right? Like, man, This is it's gonna be probably a little bit of emotions here on this conversation, but it's been a long time, man. It's been a very long time. But for people that don't know who you are, give me a little bit, 30 seconds to a minute on who you are without getting into too much, because we're gonna dive into the conversation. But just introduce yourself to our viewers and let people know who you are.
I'm Derek Johns. Formerly incarcerated innocent man. I'm an author. I'm also the CEO of Bring Money Back to Africa. As you can see, I'm rocking Park Love Apparel and also other ventures that I got coming real soon. I'm from this area, man. I'm from the Bristol, Ben Salem, Philly area. Been out here you can say most of my life. Originally from Liberia. LIB, all the LIB guys stand up out there.
LIB stand up. LIB stand up. So you share with us a little bit that 18 years incarcerated. Before we get into the conversation, there's a video that I want to play.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping this video here will act as a starting mark of our conversation. And from here, we'll be able to dive in and see what's going on. I'm going to play this video real quick for our viewers. So just sit tight.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah.
So take me to the moment right there, man. This is April 30th, a week ago, a week and 2 days at this point, right? So take me to that exact moment and let me know exactly what was going through your head at that time and what emotions and how were you feeling? Just take me to that moment, that very moment.
Well, anybody that been in prison know that your release day is the most important day. Okay? I was sentenced to a lot of time, 16 to 40 years. So in all actuality, the state did not have to let me go until I completed the 40 years of prison. In Pennsylvania, parole is not a right. It is a privilege you have to earn through your behavior, the program you take, and all that. So throughout my time, I've done everything I could in that time to make it out. And I kept getting denied because I wouldn't admit to a crime that I didn't do. So I remember that moment, even when I made parole. I'm talking about it didn't hit me. I felt the emotion and all that. But when they opened my door 4 o'clock that morning and Derek Johns, get your stuff, let's go downstairs. You take from your cell to the receiving room 4 o'clock in the morning. And they put you down there and you wait until your ride get there. You have to wait until count play around 7 o'clock. So imagine 3 hours waiting down there, anticipating walking out. Not knowing like, yo, am I going to walk out? Is this real? Is this, what's going on? And when the guard came to me and told me, man, at 6:30, he said, Mr. Johns, come out and sign your papers. You sign the last paper. Because you sign paper all throughout the week. before you're released from prison. The last paper was you sign at the desk, releasing your money, your property that they have for you. And he said, your ride's outside at 6:30. He said, come sign your paper. I think that moment just became surreal. And then when that gate opened, you go there and that gate slide up. It's like being in the garage. And it slide up, the sliding door go up. Man, I wanted to run because I'm like, I hope they don't make a mistake and call me. So that's why I'm like, yo, pull up. Like, let's hurry up and get out of here.
Right, I heard you tell them pull up.
Pull up, let's go. Just in case they made a mistake. You know what I mean? So that was the whole reason. I'm like, yo, pull up, man. Y'all trying to do all this kumbaya moment. It's time to go.
Yeah, get me out of here.
Yeah, all day.
Dang. So at this point now, those gates open after 18 hard years, bro. 18 hard years. And, man, so we're going to dive into a little bit about, like, how we got to that place anyways, right? How do we get there? But you share with us a little bit that you were from Liberia. You were born in Liberia. And I was listening to a little bit of your last interview you did about 5 years ago, and you were 11 years old when you came to the United States, right? 11 years old?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So you were 11 years old when you came to the United States from Liberia. And tell me about that moment, right? Take me back to Derrick Johns, 11 years old, coming from Liberia into this foreign land of the United States of America, because, man, I came right around the same age, right? And I remember some of the struggles that we had to go through to adjust, to just fit in this new land, coming from war and all the traumatic circumstances that was happening in Liberia, now into a brand new land that we were straight foreigner of. What was that like for you?
Well, it was bittersweet. I mean, my mother left Liberia at 1 year old to come and further education in America. So, I mean, anybody who knows Liberia, we only have one basic college. So you can't further your education too much. I mean, most who trying to further their education go overseas. So my mother came here, and my family, which is my village, took care of me. And in '94, when my mother sent for me, I've already grown around my cousins, Jennifer, Mickey Boy, Cornelia, my sister, Sonny Boy, like the list go on. My aunts, I mean, my village all play a part in raising me. And that was an important thing, especially Aunt Liz. She was the head of the village. I mean, when I left, it was bittersweet because now I'm leaving those people behind. But at the same time, I'm coming to my mother. I mean, to reunite with my mother, and which is the greatest thing in the world, right? What man don't want to be with his mother? So, yeah, it was bittersweet. But I remember getting off the plane. I tell people, I'm gonna give you this. I mean, it's in the book. I don't like to tell too much of my story, so you're stealing a little bit right now because I'm an author. So it's in the book. That's how I tell people, go read it. But I remember coming. I entered Teresa. She bought me this Kente vest. And I had this little dress shirt on. I was looking fly. I mean, and this is November '94. I landed in JFK. Now I'm looking out the window, right? And the sun is up. It's so crazy, right? The sun is up. And I'm like, damn, all right, we're about to land. When they opened up that joint, November '94, I was like, yo, why in America is the sun cold? I gotta get out of here.
You said the sun cold.
How the hell the sun cold? You know what I mean? I tried to run back on the plane. You know what I mean? But it was awesome, man, seeing my mother, man. And I remember running to her arms, seeing her, my sister. I mean, my sister, we met because she went back to Liberia to visit. But my sister Vanessa was born here. I mean, my brother R.U. left before I was even born. But he also came back to Liberia. Like I said, we had a village. And they returned back to their land. So the coming here was the dream, man. Who didn't want to come to America? You was told you could pick up gold from the floor. I mean, you have stretch limousine. The world is yours. All the good story. Come on, back in Africa, we don't see the poverty in America. I mean, we see the good stuff. We never saw the streets, the drugs, the this, the that. We saw
Right.
good stuff. I mean, the riches, the life of riches. So now you're talking about going back into that time and coming here and knowing that I'm in America. I'm thinking all my troubles are going to go away. But little did I know my troubles started that day when I arrived in this country.
So your troubles started that day. Go into that. What were some of those troubles that you start to realize at 11 years old, 12 years old? Because at this time now, you got to go to school, right? You landed into what state was this? Was this in Bensalem? This is Bucks County.
Yeah. We, in Bensalem, Creekside. I came to Creekside in Bensalem, Bucks County, and I remember it. Like I said, it was sweet because I'm here. But when I say my struggle started that day, is that I didn't know what PTSD was. I didn't know what trauma was. I was a kid that survived a war. And now I'm being taken away from that land, put into another land. And being put in this land, now I have a different type of war. It's not a war with guns and rebels running around killing people. This is a psychological war. I remember when I first went to school, they was calling me African booty scratcher. I can laugh about it now today because the simple fact is that when they was calling me African booty scratcher, I thought I got a name because, traditionally somebody come back to Africa, you give them a name, like, yo,
Right.
now your name, this your name. So I'm like, okay. I didn't know what booty was or what scratcher was. And I remember coming back and telling my sister, because Vanessa was like, yo, man, how's everything in school? I'm like, man, I'm the man. I'm African booty scratcher. She said, oh, you butt scratched up? And literally, I went back the next day and I got suspended. I mean, we ain't going to get too much into the details.
Yeah. Wow. Being called African booty scratcher, we all went through that, man. There's so many fights that I had to go through because of that word. And then you started hearing people calling you the N-word when you realize what that really meant. He's like, oh, you're not supposed to call me that. So now somebody got to get some hands put on them. And it definitely wasn't an easy path growing up. So you got suspended a few times. The family is the family's there. Mom's probably feeling a little bit disappointed at this point, right? Because I went through it too, right? So
I'm
you bring
also
your children,
but overwhelmed. I could say
overwhelmed.
Yes.
Yeah, overwhelmed with all the different troubles that you're getting into. All right, so now fast forward, right? You went to school, you graduated, right? You graduated high school there?
Oh no, I didn't graduate. I got my GED, my good enough diploma.
Good enough diploma. I'm a victim of the good enough diploma too, bro.
Right.
All right, so you got your GED, and where did you get your GED at?
Actually, I got my GED 2001 in prison.
Okay.
Yes.
In prison. This is not counting this 18-year bid that you just got out of.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. So before we get into 18-year bid, you mind telling us a little bit about that first process of going to prison?
Yeah. The first process of going to prison, they charged me with robbery. At the time, I was selling drugs in Bucks Meadow in Bensalem. And the guy owed me some money, and I ended up roughing him up, and they charged me with robbery and carjacking because I took his car. But I remember that they charged me and my man with that joint, and I remember not wanting to take a deal because they offered me a deal then. And the deal was 1.5 to 3 years. Because everybody's like, yo, man, you're going to go upstate. That's 7.5 to 15 years. I'm like, man, they owe me. I took back what he owed me. And I was like, but I felt I was talked into taking that deal. And the reason why I bring that up, because it play a part in the next time.
Yeah.
When things.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely plays a part there. All right, so you went away for a few years there. I believe you end up doing like three years at that.
Yeah, I was sentenced to 1.5 to 3. I ended up maxing out to 3. They gave me a little county bid. I did a little tour. I probably went to every county in the state of Pennsylvania before I made it home.
Yep. And then I think that was when we met, right?
Yeah, in 4.
2004.
Yeah.
I was in Job Corps at this time. I believe I had just came from Job Corps, and that's when I was introduced. We met, and I was introduced to you in Creekside. And man, you became a big brother for me. Became a big brother. We did a lot together, man. We did a lot together. A lot, a lot together. So yeah, that's when we met, right? And at this time now, we went through a lot. Went through a lot. We were still in Creekside, like you said. So fast forward now, going back to this Creekside. All right, you came to the United States. You landed in Creekside. You went away from Creekside. Now take me to the date, June 16th, 2006. And if I can remember right, my birthday is June 17th. So this was the day before my birthday. We were out playing ball. We was having a good time. We were enjoying life that day because my birthday was the next day. I believe I was probably turning 18 around this time, or probably 18 or 19, about 18 years ago. So you receive a call, and you can take it from there.
Well, yeah, I came to Creekside to see my daughter that day because it was Father's Day weekend. I wasn't supposed to be here, to be in all actuality, right? That's how things play out. So when I look back in time, I was with my child mother, Jennifer, whatever they know her by, and we were supposed to go to Atlanta City for the weekend. And her boys, which are my boys, Nate and Evan, they was fighting. They just kept fighting all day. And it just was getting on my nerves. I'm like, yo, I'm about to spend the weekend with this. And I was like, nah, y'all go. I'm going to chill. And I remember coming down there. I said, let me go see my daughter. And I received a call from the deceased, William Jones, saying that he had the drugs that he stole from me and that he wanted to bring it and return it. To me, it was like a joke. Like, who stole drugs from you and want to return the drugs?
And bring it back, right.
Especially a substantial amount of drugs, right? So now I'm waiting on his play, but I'm not really care because I was always taught that if you lose something, man, you don't try to get it back. So I wasn't even chasing dude. I wasn't even on his top. I mean, and I remember getting a call, and we was playing ball, and B, Rel, you, Sam Boodoo, wherever you at, Sam Boodoo, I'm looking for you.
Shout out to Sam, Mickey Ball, everybody was out there. Buema,
everybody. Lily, shout out to Lily too, man.
Yep.
Lily, I mean, so when he called, I told him I was at the basketball court. So, like I said, things work out the way it work out, man. Only God know why. So I was at the basketball court with y'all, and I told him I was at the basketball court. Unfortunately, Creekside had 2 basketball courts.
Yep.
Went to the other one, the big one. And when he got there, he called me. He's like, yo, I'm at the basketball court. But we were arguing back and forth because I'm like, no, you're not. He's like, yes, I am. And then he's describing what is going on. He's like, man, people are behind the fence playing ball. The kids out here playing cricket. And I'm like, oh, he at the other basketball court. So I started to walk down to go see him. And I remember my man B was like, man, listen, man, let me come with you, man. Let me come with you. And me and him was just reminiscing about it yesterday. And I was like, nah, there's no need to. Because my thing was, I mean, 1, I wasn't worried about dude. And 2, I didn't want to put no fear in his heart, thinking I'm coming with somebody else. So I walked down there by myself. And when I got there, we met on a walkway. And it was like at the bottom of the walkway. And he told me his car was parked up. So those who saw my Derek John's confession, if you haven't, you could go to Derek Africa John's Facebook page, and you can see that where Nathan did a great job of trying to illustrate that. So we walk up the driveway. As we're walking, an older lady come out. And when she stepped out, I step aside. We're raised different. I was African. Respect our elders. So I stepped aside to let her pass in the middle of us because she was walking with a cane. And at that time, I saw him gripping the gun, and the gun was out. I thought he was going to shoot me. I mean, my reaction was late because I tried to grab mine, but it was a delayed reaction. I think it got caught in my shirt, to be honest. And he put the gun in his mouth and blew his head off. And I remember I started to yell, oh shit, because it was a shock. Like,
Yeah.
I've been around where I've seen people get killed, but somebody taking their own life is just something different, you know? Especially in that manner in front of you, where it's unexpectedly. So I ran to the basketball court, and I grabbed Lily up about this the other day when I seen her. I ran to the basketball court. I got the away. I think I give it $1. I mean, when our homies, and I was like, yo, let's go back. And Lily was like, man, Derek, you better get with a hard Jamaican accent.
Yeah.
Go fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta go. And I'm like, go. I ain't do nothing. He killed himself. And she was like, no, man, get out of here, man. You already got a record. They're not gonna believe you. And I started to walk out because I called my man to pick me up out of Creekside because I suspected that it was gonna stop every car in Creekside. So as I was walking out, I walked out to Dunk Ferry Road. And the car started approaching. I seen him coming. So I look at him, he look at me. I made sure to let him know, like, yo, I'm not running away from nothing. So I crossed in front of their car, which is on video. And when I crossed in front of his car, he called me back to his car, and I turned around and came back. And he said, was you involved in what happened in Creekside? And I said, no. He said, did you come from Creekside? And I said, yes. And then he said, we need to do identification. I said, identification for what? He killed himself. I'm suspecting that. There was so many people out. It was over 100 people out. I'm talking about 7 o'clock at the park. Father's Day weekend. Creekside was packed that day at that playground. And so I'm like, no way. Like, what are you talking about? So he said, no, we're just going to detain you and take you down for questioning. And they held me in handcuffs, did the little box line up. A kid pulled up, don't look at him, yada, yada, yada. And he said it was me. And that kid who pointed me out, Kishan Patel. And shout out to him. I mean, because the most important thing is that he was the most honest person throughout my trial. I mean, he pointed me out, and they took me to the station. And then I'm sitting there. I remember Detective Yant Nieves. I know from Creekside. I remember one time in Creekside, since we taking it back, right? His nephew was mad about a girl that I was dealing with. So he tried to swing on me on the bus. And you know I'm from Liberia, man. So I headbutt him.
Yeah. That was your move, that headbutt.
Finish him. You know what I mean? So I headbutt him, busted his nose, beat him down. So he got mad and came and tried to arrest me. But everybody on the bus said that his nephew attacked me. About a week later, I'm playing basketball. This dude pulled up in his uniform and attacked me while I'm playing ball.
This is Nieves now, the cop at this time.
Yeah, Detective Nieves. I mean, he attacked me and so I hit him. So now I'm trying to fight back. People grabbing me, grabbing him. And I remember I got out of their grip and I ran to the house. And my grandfather was in the house and my sister Vanessa. And when I got to the house, I was like, man, I would have grabbed a knife. I said, man, I'm going back. He ain't just punch on me like that. I'm 13 years old. There's an officer of the law putting his hands on me. So as I'm going out, my grandfather gripped me up. And he said, I always raised you to be a wise man. Do you think it's wise to go out there with a knife when he got a gun and he's a cop? I mean, I don't think it registered at that point in time because I was so angry. But he was able to calm me down. And my sister, in fact, Vanessa, as I was walking out, she helped on my back. And I mean, like trying to pull me back. And I remember calling my mother at work and explaining to her what happened. And my mother came home, immediately called the cops and made a report that he attacked me. My Aunt Liz was more of, like I said, she's the leader of the village, man. And she talked to my mother into dropping the charges. She's like, yo, listen, man, he's fresh in America. That's a cop. If y'all go after him, and she had all reason to be fearful. I mean, so if y'all go after him, I mean, this could be something that would be a long-term effect where Derek would be harassed and continue harassment or something. They would do something to him because there's a police officer and they stick together. So my mother dropped the charges. I remember him and his police chief coming and talking. And, you know, we from Liberia, man. So it's like, those type of things are not abuse to us. I mean, because we come from the culture where anybody could beat your ass if you're acting up. It's not
Right.
what's on here in America. I mean, you know, that I used to be a marathon beating. The neighbor
Yep.
whoop your ass. Your mom come home embarrassed because you would let the neighbor whoop your ass. Now she got, I mean, and so we come from that type of culture that the little ass wasn't whooping, they didn't mean that much. You know what I mean? But I mean, so we didn't look at it at that deep. But I regret it that I never continued, that my mother didn't continue with the charges because Detective Nieves was one of the officers that charged me. But going back a little bit, is that I specifically waited for him when they tried to interview me. I was like, nah, I don't want to talk to Nieves. I ain't talking to none of y'all. Because the simple fact, I'm like, all right, he owed me a salad. He's going to do
Yeah, so you were probably thinking like, man, he's gonna hook me up, man. I knew him when we was growing up. You thought,
man, like he got a salad. Dude gonna do what he need to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Number one, I'm never gonna make an incriminating statement against myself. And number two, there's no need not to talk because I didn't do nothing. You know what I mean, it wasn't nothing to hide. He shot himself. That was it. I mean, it was nothing more to speak about. So I remember he came and interrogated me, and after that, put me back in the cage, and then came back and said you've been charged with capital murder. And capital murder is that you'll be put on death row. I mean, if you're found guilty in Pennsylvania. So I remember like, damn, capital murder. Like, the hell, y'all.
yeah. What? How did you feel right when they hit you with that actual charge, man? Like, what ran through your mind?
Well, I remember going to the courtroom and seeing the judge because they got to take it to the municipal judge. I remember going to the courtroom and I'm like, and their affidavit statement, you know, probable cause. They called it a probable cause statement. In the probable cause, he wrote that, and which, like I said, you could post it on your website. I mean, everything I'm saying is straight facts. I give you all these documents. I'm out here now, so nobody can hide document. I got it all. I mean,
Yeah.
in the probable cause, he said that the gun was found out of his hands. I mean, like, I didn't even know if the gun was in the hand, out of the hand. I didn't know what the gun was because when he shot himself, I screamed, oh shit, and I was out of there. So I wasn't even paying attention to see where the gun was. So I never even knew that a gun was in his hand. But he lied in the probable cause affidavits to say that a gun was not in the hand just so the judge could be able to hold the charges against me.
And when you speak of he, now that was the reporting officer, the first officer on site.
No, Detective Nieves.
Nieves, because he's the one that did the interview.
That's the one that did the interview. Yes.
Okay.
And the reporting officer on site was Officer Jackson. I heard the detective now in Ben Salem. Jackson. Well, him and Nieves has been currently accused of. I read a lawsuit before I came through. It was accused of beating some girl and with a false warrant and beating her up. I mean, whether it's true or not, I don't know. But I know Nieves is currently not a cop no more in Ben Salem. I think he's head of one of these school districts. I don't know if it's Ben Salem School District, the Shamley, one of them. But I remember getting charged with it, and then when I got what they call, that's the affidavit to charge you. And then they call a discovery. Discovery is when all the evidence come to you. All the statement, who said what, yada, yada, yada. And I remember reading the first statement against me was Kior Patel, which was a young kid that was out there that day. And he said he seen me shoot William Jones in the mouth, catch him, playing the gun in his hand, lay him on the ground. And I'm like,
hold on. Pause. So he claimed that he seen you shoot him while the body was falling. You caught the body, lay it down, take the gun and place it into.
No. I placed the gun in his hand while he was falling, B.
While he was falling, mid-fly, catch him, put the gun in his hand, and then he lay him down in the spot and ran. Wow.
I was moving like Flash that day. I mean,
you was fast, bro.
Very fast. I mean, but on seriousness, so I'm looking at this. I'm like, is this really happening? I'm like, why would somebody make up a statement like that? Why would this kid say something like that, knowing I didn't do this? But like I said again, starting off from the beginning, God plans is not coincide with our plans.
That's facts.
I was out here doing things I shouldn't have been doing. And for that, I take full responsibility of. The things that I was involved in led to my incarceration. Man, if I wasn't involved in drugs, I wasn't involved in the street, I wouldn't have been locked up for homicide I didn't do. I wasn't Joe Blow that was going to work and it just came and locked me up. I mean, I was in the streets. And I take responsibility of that. I mean, of being there. And also, like I said, for the first time, man, like I remember morning, like this dude was somebody I messed with. That's what I'm saying. He wasn't somebody that was an enemy. He stole from me, and I just wanted my stuff back.
Yeah, I remember Will, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was somebody I had a relationship with. It wasn't somebody I was beefing with. Enemy. There's somebody who mother I call mom. I mean, who came around my team. I mean, and we ran a tight circle. So if you was around me, obviously, it was for a reason.
Yeah,
I trusted you. And the decision that he made was a horrible decision. But the street life we was living and the things that we do in these streets, even now, like I'm so disappointed with what's going on in the street, man, especially how senseless people are losing their life. I mean, and I think back about my situation and that, like I said, for the first time this week, and it's the first time I'm speaking on it, I was able to actually sympathize with him and understand that a man lost his life. I mean, and I'm not just saying like, oh yeah, no, I knew that before a man lost his life, but understand that the role I play in it, even though I didn't take his life, but the things I did led up to this man losing his life because of me being in the street and me being involved in certain things. But let's get one thing clear. I should not be held responsible for his action. Yeah. I didn't take a gun and put it in his mouth. I didn't tell him to shoot himself. I didn't hand him a gun to shoot himself. I'm just saying that the things I was involved in, which I needed, God knew I needed some type of time. Yep. I wish it wasn't 18 years of my life. But he knew I needed something to redirect my life. Redirect and restructure myself because I was lost, man. And I see these lost souls out here. I came out here, these guys are still doing the same thing. They run around, still trying to be this person. Man, listen, if you ain't make it all these years and selling the little packs here and there and doing this little drug game, I advise you, man, go get you a job.
Yeah.
Go get you a job.
So now you did 18 years, okay? And that's simply because you didn't take a plea. From the first jump, I remember there was a point in this case where they were literally offering you like a 3 to 5 or something like that, right?
Yeah, no. 2.5 to 5. Now, here's the funny thing about that, right? The funny thing about that is that, like I said, I'll give you all this document you can post on your site. They offer me 2.5 to 5 before they send the evidence to the lab. How can you offer me 2.5 to 5 years? Right there told me that you believe that I didn't commit the murder. They offered me 2.5 to 5. When all the evidence came back, after the doctor who did the autopsy, Dr. Hood, stated that this was 99% suicide. The doctor never called this a homicide. When you die, the coroner come and examine your body, try to figure out the cause of death. How did you die? What was the cause? What is the manner of death? Suicide, homicide, undetermined. Iron Hood said it was undetermined. But 99% suicide. So you're saying that I was locked up under 1% for 18 years.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And so how did they determine like this? I think at one point there was like a suicide note somewhere in the scene. So like with all of that happening, and they found this note. How do we end up doing 18 years?
It's a system, man. It's a system. I see all the time. Fortunate for me is that I got years. It's guys that got life. The jury found me guilty of third-degree murder. The maximum sentence you could give somebody under third-degree murder is 20 to 40 years. The judge gave me 10 years for the homicide, 5 years for the gun, 1 year enhancement because I was a convicted felon with a gun, and he gave me 40 years at the end of my time. So I was sentenced to 16 to 40 years. So my max date is 2046. It's how long, if I don't beat this case, I have to be on parole or be back in jail if I violate any of the rules that they have put upon my shoulder.
Oh, so right now you are home on parole. That's about what, like 24 years parole?
22 years.
22 years still on paper.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's like, I remember the last person we interviewed, it's like you're free, but you're also not free, right? Like, because you still got to report in, you still got to answer to somebody. There's still things that you need to be at and all of that. Like, how is that experience right now for you, just even in the first week? Like, how are you coping with this lifestyle being outside?
My cousin Pilly came through today, right? And she said, she was like, yo, let's go to the mall. I'm going to go get you a few items. Now, the mall is in Philadelphia, Franklin Mills.
Yeah.
Franklin Mills is out of my district because we have districts. Every person who is on parole in Pennsylvania is subject to district. I think it's about 8, 9, maybe 10 of them. Philadelphia district is separated from Bucks County district because Philadelphia has so many people, the district is separated. So I'm waiting to go to the mall. I know I have this interview with you, so I'm trying to hurry up and get to the mall and get back to express whatever we had to talk about on this podcast. I had to call my PO to get permission just to go to Franklin Mills Mall. I remember calling him, and I called him like 6 times. You heard me before he answered. And when he answered, he's like, Franklin Mills, it's right there. I'm like, yeah, 18 years was right there. I did 18 of these joints. I owe 22. Listen, I ain't even crossing the street to say you can't cross without your permission because I know how hard it was for me to get out. I know how hard it is for other guys who I left behind to get out. And I know that it is easy to just say, go on with your life. Live your life. Go on. And I've seen a lot of guys come home and do that, man. Guys come home and forget about the guys, man. I got over 150 people that I'm in contact with in the prison system. You know what I mean? Right now, that's calling my phone, that's emailing me. You know what I mean? Because we're like family. I grew up with these guys. You know what I mean? These guys are the one that educated me and made me into the man I am today. So I understand some of them because everybody in jail is not innocent. So let's get that right. I mean, there's a lot of guilty men. And there's a lot of evil men in jail. There's a lot of men that deserve to be in jail. So we're not going to say that everybody in jail is innocent, but there's so many innocent people in jail, man. It's unreal. I'm talking about, I've seen so many guys come out, but it always was 20, 30, 40 years later. And I always told myself, man, maybe I got to get like 25 in before I get home because they ain't never going to let me go home no time soon because I was not able to tell that story. I remember talking to my daughters. And right before I went in for my interview for parole, and I got on the phone with them, and I'm like, yo, I'm about to go see parole right now. Now, the first thing you see in the parole process is the psych. You go through a psych evaluation. So your story is being asked there first. So you go through the psych, and you have to tell your story. It's called an inmate version. Then after that, you have to write it down and sign it. Then after that, you go through the staffing, which is all the guards that's on your block, and the unit manager, and you go to them, tell your story again. Then after that, you go to your pre-parole hearing before the actual parole, and you have to tell that story again, whatever story you choose to tell. And then you go in front of the parole board for your interview, and that story better match every story you've been telling.
Right. It's like it took you through all of this to make sure like that
You
story stays the same.
story stays the same, right? So now I'm looking at it as that if I start and say this now, I would have to carry this lie all along. And one thing about a lie, it never stays the same. You always get caught up in the lie.
Yeah.
Now, it was easy for me to say I didn't do it. It was harder for me to say I did it. Not because I didn't do it or I was afraid of anything else. It was simple fact is that the burden of taking that responsibility to say I'm responsible for taking this man's life was something I could not do. Now, if you want me to get my phone so I don't disturb the people, I can grab and cut it off because my phone is ringing.
Yeah, go ahead, grab that. You can grab that real quick. Hope
Hello?
you guys are enjoying this conversation.
Yes,
You
sir.
can definitely, if you got a question,
Yes,
put
sir.
that in the comments. If you're enjoying it, hit the like button. Make sure you're sharing this with
I'm
somebody else.
I'm
And
on the phone with my parole officer,
if
so y'all gotta wait. I'm in the house right now. I'm in the house. I was doing the podcast. I was on the camera doing the podcast. But I'm in the house. I'm right here. Yeah. So I'm currently on. Yeah, you come through. You come through. You know what I mean, all right. Yes, sir. All right, bye.
wow,
But that was the parole officer, so I had to get that call.
definitely have to get that call.
You can't miss that call. I mean, that's why I made sure it was that phone. But he's gonna be here in 10 minutes. I mean,
Okay.
now with the process of being here in 10 minutes, that he come through, he can search whatever he want, he can bring the dog. I have no privacy as far as whenever he want to come, he can come. He's a parole man, and I better be here. I got a 9 o'clock curfew. I mean, as you see, I'm home right before that.
Yeah.
So, but the problem
So
to me is that I'm not afraid of anything. With the simple fact is that I know that I have to walk a right path.
yeah.
And my family putting itself through stress because for some reason they think I'm the 22-year-old kid, 23-year-old kid that left. I mean, but their love and care is there. It's understandable.
Yep.
Having that
Yep.
people calling on you and checking on you is good. I mean, even though I give them a little hard time and be like, yo, stop being a second parole officer. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, that's the love. The love is there, man. We can't afford to lose you again, brother. So we
and
can't
that's
afford to lose you again because, like, in the midst of all of this, man, like your daughters were out here, and family members, loss of family members, and even through this process here, you lost your mother. And I know like that's something you're still going through. That's a time that is going to always sneak up on you, right? Because even I was listening to the last podcast, and you were sharing. It was interesting. You were sharing a list of things that you lost, things and people that you lost while you were in prison. And I'm listening to it. I had to count back. I even had to look down at the screen and say, "Oh, what year was this?" And it was about 5 years ago when you did that last interview with Shonda, and you was naming, man, I lost my dad, lost grandpa. You was naming all these people, and at that time, mom was still here.
she was still around.
She was still here.
Right? So me and my sister and my brother argued, Vanessa. Me and Vanessa argued, went to the grave site on Sunday. I mean, shout out to my sister coming all the way from Ohio and the backbone right now of us, because when it comes to me and my brother, we the crybaby. I mean, a boy is always we was our mother's child.
Yeah.
So shout out to my sister for the backbone that she had, because I got vulnerable. I mean, at Sunday we went to go to my mother's grave. So now I'm at my mom's grave, right? Next to her grave is my grandfather's grave. Next to his grave is my uncle's grave. Next to his grave is May Marie, my other grandmother. Next to her grave is my Uncle Clay. These are all the people that died while I was gone. All in the same facility. So this is the type of thing you have to go through. I mean, so it's good to have that family unit. They consistently call on me, consistently checking on me. I mean, making sure you got food, you need this, you need that. I mean, even shout out to Shamari, man, and his wife, Jennifer. I mean, big shout out, man. I don't have to worry about a roof over my head. I don't have to worry about, yo, man, I got to go out right now and make sure I get something because this bill got to get paid. And I'm forever thankful for that, Shamari. and to his wife Jennifer. You know what I mean? These are the things that make your transition a little bit easier. You know what I mean? The people you have around you. And plus, I built a foundation. I'm rocking my own clothes. They're like, yo, you
Yep.
need clothes? No, give me some jeans. I ain't make no jeans yet. Jeans got to be right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got my own sweatshirt. I got my own t-shirt. I got my own hat. I got my own socks. You know what I mean?
I used to tell people all the time, they're like, man, how's Av, man? I was like, man, Av is one of the strongest people. He's doing more in prison than some of the folks that are walking on these streets, because all the different businesses, all the different things that you have going on now. But I wanted to ask a question a little bit about like the actual prison systems, right? And your time in there. So what was like one of the most challenging moments for you in prison, and how did you cope with those challenges?
Well, if you want to go over the most difficult time in prison, was the death of my mother. It was the most difficult time. And it's crazy how I even found out. So Friday, I talked to my mother Thursday night, I mean, and she was a little disoriented, but we look at it as, oh man, the old man getting old. I mean,
Yeah.
like getting old. But she got back. She's like, yo, I'm here. Cause first when I called my mom, she's like, yo, man, I'm in the basement at Vanessa's house with the preacher. So I'm like, what? You in the hospital? Like, but it took a minute for her to get back. And we shook it off because she got back so well. Like it was like nothing to concern about. I mean, oh man, stop it. Like, I got this. And we talk, I laugh, I ground a weird husband up like I always do. And she we cried. I remember my last word to her. My mother told me, she's like, man, don't let your children kill you in this country. I mean, because I was always worried about my kids because they was going through a lot. But my man came to see me Friday morning, a surprise visit. So now he go see me Friday morning. After that, I go on a visit. He comes see me Friday morning. Bang. Then I go to Jumall, which is Friday, Jumall, 1 o'clock. At Jumall, the brotherhood conversation was about death. How we should be prepared for death. Death is coming. You should be prepared. You never know when it's going to come. Bang, bang, bang. I get back and I look at my messages because usually I go to the kiosk and check my message. We get emails to see what was the message. And this girl, Tori, that I used to deal with back in the day, wrote me. She's like, oh, I see why you didn't call me. I'm sorry about your mother. And that's how I found out. I remember calling Sonny Boy, and he couldn't even tell me. Like, he was like, yo, how do he couldn't even tell me. I'm like, yo, what the hell happened to my mom? And he kept asking, who told you? Who told you? Who told you? And when he finally said it, I came in fan of the thought of even explaining the emotion I went through, man. I mean, it was a horrible thing, man. I mean, so I'm very grateful for my village, man, because my village held me down. I'm talking about the village inside of prison. I mean, those guys kept me together because I felt like my world was over, and I still do. I don't even know if I even want to be at family gatherings. I was at Jennifer's surprise party. I almost ruined it because I was out there crying my eyes out.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw her dance with her mother, I mean, when her mother started dancing, I knew that I would never get that opportunity to dance with my mother again. I mean, and the emotion was overwhelming. I mean, I tried to put a straight face and have the rest of the time, but when I came back here, man, I cried like a baby, man.
Yeah.
I cried here, I cried here, and it's okay to cry. That's one of the things I had to learn. I mean, it's okay as a man to express your emotion. I mean, it's not okay to not control your emotion, but it's okay to express
Definitely gotta express it.
I mean,
So you talked a little bit about the village and the people inside of there. Was there a particular person, a particular moment that just shift your mindset in prison? Because I know Derek Johns, right? I know Derek Johns can snap like that, but through the years, as I talk to you, I can see like the change, the maturity, the different person, right? Like you didn't seem as angry anymore, quick to get to get ticked off on anything. So what happened in there that just caused that mind shift? And was there a particular person that just helped you through this process?
Well, the co-author of my book, Sean Green. I mean, I'll tell everybody this. I remember he hit me with his line. Like I was doing a lot of things, man, in prison, man, doing things I shouldn't have been doing. And he came to me. He saw something in me. He saw I was a natural born leader. I mean, like, so he was like, "Listen, man, you got that." He said, "You 6 hours away. You get visits every week, and even if I lost a woman, I always was able to get another one." You know what I mean? Throughout my time, it was like, yo, I mean, he was like, "Damn, dudes in here can't even make that happen. Bros coming here to see you, family coming here to see you. You are an investment." I mean, I said, "What the hell are you talking about, old head?" He said, "Man, you are an investment. When they pick up that phone call, they investing in you. When they send you money, they investing in you. When they come to visit you, they investing in you. What's going to be your return of that investment?" I said, "Man, oh yeah, they know who I am. They know when I get home, I got them." He's like, "No, the returns start now. What are you going to do now to show them that you're going to be a changed man? You can't wait until you get out there. Be too late. You already be corrupted by prison. Prison is a corruption hub. There's nothing in there that's correction facility. Is not a correction facility. I mean, prison system is meant to wear you down. But there are a few good men in there that's trying to do good things. I mean, one of my guys, Tariq Wallace, who is currently an innocent man fighting for his innocence. We came up with a program in prison called Big Bro, and which stands for Building Individual Greatness by Redirecting Ourselves. And it's a program from 18 to 29, Building Individual Greatness by Redirecting Ourselves. So we met with the administration. We sat down with the warden and all that. Look, listen, man, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to attack the violence. Also show these young men how they could transform the hustle game into the real life. I thought I was a drug dealer. I wasn't a drug dealer. I was a hustler.
Yeah.
And being a hustler, that's why I was able to create BNBA, Park Love, and all the other ventures that I was able to do in prison. Because I had to take my mindset on that I don't need drugs to make it. I mean, and there's a lot of drugs in prison. I don't know what people think. It's more drugs in prison than there is anywhere else I've ever seen.
That system is crooked all the way, man. Like that system that's crazy.
Yeah.
That you would think like there's not a possibility for that type of stuff to even enter into the prison system. But even when we watch it on TV, we see it happening in there, and it's very, very unfortunate. So, who was the youngest person that you see come through the system there? How old was that youngest person? I mean,
Well, in the state penitentiary, you're not coming up there where I was at unless you're 18. So I saw some. I mean, they come first. They take them to the name is not coming up registering, but it will. There's a prison for juvenile kids who got sentenced to a state bed. They go to that prison, and once they become 18, they send them around. But I was in Fayette, SCI Fayette, for 14 years, and trust me, man, they call that joint Vietnam, all over. I mean, and you have to. I mean, I even got cut by a razor. Dude tried to cut my ear off.
yeah.
The razor. I mean, and that was my first week in there. And it's
wow.
predator or you're the prey. And for a while, I was a predator. I mean, I was not going to be the prey. I mean, but old head Sean Green, man, my co-author for No Child Left Behind, and man, that he used to take me to the library because even though I got my GED, I didn't comprehend well as far as the education, or my vocabulary wasn't up to par. My reading skills wasn't there, and he had me in the library reading, teaching me how to write, how to understand grammar, and all that. I mean, we still, even right now, as long as I've been in America over 30 years, I say certain things, people be like, huh? What you say? The accent's still there, can't get away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
So while in prison, you became an author. You
yeah.
wrote, I believe there are about probably 3 books published and one on the way.
No, 6
and
more. 6 more.
You wrote 4 altogether?
No, I wrote 6 books altogether.
Okay.
There's 2 published and 4 more coming.
All right. So tell us about the first book there.
Well, the first book was mostly No Child Left Behind. It was about Liberia. I mean, I'm making sure that nigga, I'm in my PO and call. I ain't missing his call, so give me 1
I
second.
got you.
All right.
We're all expecting the PO to show up. Everybody's expecting him now.
Turn it on him. You know what I mean? Like, oh, come through. But anyway, yeah, the first book is No Child Left Behind. And it's not really my story. I tell people that all the time. That's Aunt Liv's story.
Okay.
I was telling the story about how remarkable she was, man, and how she was able to take all her sister kids and make sure we all survive. And
Yeah.
the reason why I named it No Child Left Behind was this one moment I was done, man. We didn't eat for days. I had worm. I was throwing up worm, tapeworm, and all that from eating bad meat, bad pork, whatever we might have been eating at the time. And I was done. I couldn't barely walk. And her friend sat down with her and she's like, Liz, leave Derek with us. It's gonna be hard for y'all on that journey. Cause I could barely walk, man. I wasn't even able to walk. I was looking like them kids, them Ethiopian kids, the big belly, skinny as hell, looking bones. You know what I mean? So she said, how can I explain to my sister that I left her son behind if something happened to him if I leave him here? She said, if he's going to die with me on this trip. And that was the more reason why I named it No Child Left Behind. But you think about how remarkable she was. I'm talking about someone that was pregnant, you know what I mean, and took all of us and made sure we all made it. You know what I mean? Like, you got to read the story, man.
Yeah, you definitely got to read the story. And then the second book was what's the next book there?
Next book is called A Child Can't Hear. That was the second book. A Child Can't Hear. And the reason why I said that the child can't hear was my grandfather's favorite saying. You know what I mean? He always just said, a child can't hear with feel. And when that time would be too late. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Famous saying to me. So as he was saying that as I was growing up, I didn't pay much attention to it until I did 18 years in prison for a crime I didn't commit.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So what's your message now, man, to the young folks out there, or even the person that is just heading this direction that you was in years ago before even going away for this 18 years, and you see them right now and you get the opportunity to tell them something? What is that message that you're going to give them?
Well, to be in all honesty, I'll say love yourself first. I mean, I think out here we lack self-love. If you love yourself, you won't be putting yourself in these types of predicament, right? I mean, so it starts with loving yourself. In order to love anybody, you must love yourself first. I mean, it seems like we hate ourselves so much that we hate each other, especially within the black community, man. The rate of these kids killing is different. You know what I mean? Like, it's different. And they think that it's okay. So let me give you a vivid story. And I hope your audience is ready for this. A vivid story. Before I left jail, there was this kid named Mark Anthony. Now, Mark Anthony was waiting to get home, but he formed a habit in jail, which is a deuce habit. In jail, K2, y'all call it out here, people have been spraying all type of things on the book and all that. So which in turn people now are smoking and getting high off that. So you don't even know what you're smoking, right? That's how bad drug addiction is. That's why I was like, I remember when I was coming out and my agent, my parole agent, she was like, man, you got 18 years in. Go get your marijuana card, man. Doctor gonna give you that right away. I said, man, I got 18 years and I ain't never been high. Why would I go get high? She said, I'm telling you, just have it just in case. I said, trust and believe me, man. My medication is praying 5 times a day to my Lord. And that I'll be all right. But anyway, long story short is that this kid called it addiction. Now you have to feed that addiction. He didn't have no money. So what did he start doing? There was this guy, old head guy. He's a hustler on the block. His name is Clay. Young boy start sucking Clay. Like I said, vividly. I'm giving y'all straight jail shit.
Yeah.
So start sucking Clay just for him to pay for him to get high. One day, Clay refused to pay him. He then, in turn, went to the police with Clay's sperm and said And this
Wow.
happened 2 days before I came out. So imagine how much other things I experienced. But like I said, I'm right now, I just got my medical card. And one of the main things I was calling on the medical card when I was calling them yesterday is that I'm seeking therapy. I mean, I know I need therapy. And we all need therapy, especially in this world right now. And you shouldn't be afraid of it. You should be able to be open and discuss those things. Because I think a lot of these young kids are holding these things in. They're not able to express their emotions. They're not able to express what they're going on inside of them. And they're just acting out, man. And wishes that hurt people hurt people. I mean, they
Yeah.
just hurt bunch of kids, man. Because when they go to that prison, trust me. I mean, excuse my language, a bunch of men. I mean, doing all the killing in here to go down there. They around men. Ain't no gun in here. Ain't no gun here. Now you're around men. I mean, you can't rock no skinny jeans, so somebody might be looking at your ass and want you. I mean, so let's be for real. There's nothing in that life. When I left jail, I was on a chirp phone.
Yeah.
I'm out. I got an iPhone, and my guys from Africa call me every day on video time, on FaceTiming them. You're connected with the world through social media, through FaceTime, through the computer, the laptop, all of that. Take advantage of that. Use that as your marketing tools. Don't let it use you. Don't let them market to you. You market to them.
Mm-hmm.
Use that to be successful, man. Dudes on there running around just doing dumb stuff. When I'm on there, I give a little bit of inside of what's going on, what's not going on with me. But trust and believe me, that joint's just a marketing tools, man. I don't
Yeah.
really got too much going on trying to tell my whole life on Facebook and yada, yada, yada. I give you a little thing so I can be able to market the things that I'm trying to put out. Use it as a marketing tool, man, nothing else. Because you will get lost. I caught myself the first day scrolling, bang, bang, bang. And I even tell myself by 10 o'clock, man, the phone got to be off. Unless I'm talking to my wife. Because you'll get lost in these phones, man. You won't have no time for nothing else. You won't be able to educate yourself. Man. So all of that, man. I say that to say, man, love yourself. Know that you are capable of doing anything you want, man. If Bill Gates and Mike Zuckerberg could make billions and billions of dollars, who the hell gonna tell you can't get 1 million? Who gonna tell you can't get 1 million? Well, if y'all think I'm just talking, come holler at me in a year and see what I do.
Yeah.
We'll redo.
Flex.
Man.
Flex. Now you got Park Love. You got all these different brands you're working on. And man, we can't wait to see where all this is going to go, because man, I already see you were hustling in there for these brands. Now you're outside. It is so good to see the hustle that you're already putting behind it. Every time I see you, you're already rocking the brand, right? Right now you're wearing one of them. Every time I see you, you're telling somebody, I see you pulling shirts out the trunk this weekend, just selling it to everybody. And that's the hustle there that I think is going to take your brand a long, long way, you know? So how can society help and support individuals that are re-entering this life outside after serving time?
Like I said again, thanks to Shamari, his wife, my family, my friend, my man Ace, man, came all the way from Connecticut. You know what I mean,
Yeah, shout out to Ace, yo.
yeah, I mean, one of the real ones. And there's somebody I met in the prison system, you know what I mean? Came home, started his own little trucking company, got his CDL, and have not been back to prison for 13 years. You know what I mean? So, hold on, it's my parole officer. Hold on.
We'll take a little break right there while the PO come in. Shout out to Derek, man, for giving us his time right now.
Sorry, I'm on the podcast, man.
For living. Like, he's really taking it to, it's really happening. Like,
yeah, man. So, you know what I mean?
the story he's talking about, you can see he was just talking a little bit about the parole officer, and the parole officer is now visiting and gracing the show.
Just so I can get out of here. They have to know that there's so many opportunities out here, man. When I left here, these opportunities was not out here. You have the chance to do a lot of things, man. Smarten up, stay out the way, man, and get yourself, get educated. Number one, educate yourself. Number two, seek help, therapy, whatever it is that you could do, man. There's so many things that could be done to better ourselves, and we have to love ourselves first before we can love anything else. So I thank you guys for tuning in. I got more important matters to turn it to. I mean, we'll see you guys again, man. Like, I mean, like, get the brand
Yeah.
up, BNBA. I mean, I started all these brands in jail, man. I did it in jail, 18 years, man. If I could do it, y'all could do it.
Yep.
All right, man.
So
Thank
shout out to the PO. But right before you go to PO, right before you go,
you.
how can people support you? Where can they find you?
Well,
And if they wanted to even grab the book, like how can people connect with you and support you?
the book is currently on Amazon. No Child Left Behind. We'll be dropping the other books real soon. Also, Park Love Apparel is on Instagram and all of the website. Not just regular. It's on Instagram, all over the website. And then you got BNBA, Bring Money Back to Africa. It's on everything. I mean, we're on every platform, and we're just trying to do what we need to do, man. Trying to educate. And it's not just about me winning. It's about everybody winning, man. Everybody around us winning because each one teach one, man. I mean, I
That's a
remember you.
fact.
Look at you now. When I left, you was dirty rebel. Now I
Yeah,
come,
right.
you running the church, you doing things better for yourself. So if you can transform, they can transform. And I can transform, they can transform. And it's important that we do that, man. I mean, too many kids dying out here, and that's my
Yeah.
goal. I said when I was leaving that prison, man, I said I'm going to do whatever I can to undo the wrong I've done in society, to make sure that I can at least, even if it's one, if I save one, that's what it is.
Man, I appreciate you, big bro. I
Yes,
love you, man. Thank you for
love y'all
gracing
too, man.
thank
Thanks,
you for gracing the show.
and you're
And
in jail, so don't go to jail. Parole man knock on the door. All right,
Parole man not gonna do everything must stop. We appreciate you, man. Love you,
all
bro. I'll
right.
talk to you later.